We're all going on a summer holiday. Yep, the early songs of my youth. And one of those first songs that I remember as a youngster was exactly that, by Cliff Richard. And although he had released it before I was born, it was one of the 7 singles that I remember we actually had. This isn't it, unfortunately, but I remember as a youngster, I mean, it must have been, what, 3, 4? We had a blue boxed turntable thing, and the speaker was on the front, and it was like this colour blue, the mask blue. And I remember being fascinated by watching this needle. I knew I couldn't touch it. I wasn't allowed to touch it. And this needle would go and that dust as it would go round. And I couldn't quite understand, how did this bring Cliff Richard into my head? And the song Summer Holiday, but the other one was Do You Want to Dance? And I used to like that one because it had a bit more vibey beat. And it was quite fascinating because I was still in Scotland at the time, and we had TV, although it was black and white TV. And somewhere in these memories of mine, I remembered Cliff Richard sitting in a bus. But, I mean, I might have seen it later. But so yesterday when I Googled for this, there he was sitting, driving this bus in his fancy suit, almost saying, we're all going on a summer holiday. So it's quite amazing how the memories get lodged in the brain. But music and the fascination with that record player and the fascination with this sound coming out of this box. And when we came to South Africa, I was 5, and that was one of the things that we brought over, was this record player. I don't know who carried the records. It must have been Alfie, my brother. But I remember my mum also really liked Cliff Richard, probably because he was like a good boy of pop. He was the cleaner version to Elvis, where Elvis, although he'd been singing like the Jailhouse Rock and all those earlier songs with his hip thrusting and his, his slicky hair, and the bad boy of the good boys, the Teddy Boys. And I mean, of course, women went wild. Then there was the Beatles, and then there was, the Rolling Stones, which, of course, from our mum being a very good lady, she probably preferred King Richard, who was like the goody boy of pop. And it's been fascinating watching him because, I mean, he's kind of like the Devil Woman, and through the years, and I've got I like small speakers. It's been an anthem through my life. And when I think back as a tribute to my life, which I'm celebrating next Thursday as my birthday, and this is why I'm doing this tribute to music, that was one of the earliest impressions of music in my life. So tomorrow brings another person, but today it was quite fun looking up Cliff Richard and his wholesome appeal, his wholesome British appeal, especially because, I mean, Elvis was American, and then we move on to all like the psychedelic of the late 60s and early 70s, which obviously my mum was only in her 30s. Yeah, early 30s when we came here. So by coming to South Africa, we escaped a lot of the British influence because, of course, the music wasn't as readily available here. They didn't want, the British had the amnesty on the artists performing here. And of course, we didn't have TV until 76, so we weren't allowed to see such devilish, influential music videos. And when we went to the pictures, which was the movies, but we called them the pictures, you'd see like the snippets of them, but we would never really see these artists in their prime because we didn't have the telly. But I was glad, and that memory of the bus did actually come true. So I watched a little bit of the video, because it wasn't video in those days, it was all film, and him singing On Top of the Pops, or miming On Top of the Pops when it came out. And it's fascinating to think that music is this kind of timeline calendar of my life, and here I am pretending I'm Cliff Richard.